Salute and thank you, NERDSoul. Oh, yeah, lay ill kid at OneYoungsta. Hold it down, bringing you the Street Geek and NERDSoul. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and let's go. It is time for Starfleet Academy. You're going to break it down, talk about it, have a good time, and we are not by ourselves. Right over here. Ha ha ha. Solar Gray, Cinematic Sorcerer. What's up?
Hey everybody, this is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, coming at you again from the living room in the Wizard's Tower. Although you might have to call me Grandmaster Shill and us the two and the Furious Two, because that is some fun stuff. It's like wow, yep, I'm a shill for Star Trek. That's right. Even though the definition of shill means someone who's paid to
I'm like, where's my what is it, CBS? Where's my CBS check? I missed it.
Like, hey, Paramount, what's up? Yeah, so
I mean, I will take it. I mean, look, CBS, I will take that check.
Yeah,
now, I'm not guaranteeing.
Yeah, I would love my stipend for liking a show. That it's only quit.
Here's how you'll know if I'm a shill for the show. Here's how you will know. I will stop talking about characters and stuff, and I'll be like, this was lit so well. And the production... like, he hasn't talked about the characters at all. He hasn't talked about the direction or anything. You know, the special effects were amazing, and I really loved there were nice plants on the set.
Well, see, that's your hi, I'm a shill tell. I'm not a shill. I do try and find positive stuff, but believe me, when I see something I don't like, I go off about it at length for hours.
For hours. But you said with this episode, you said, and the name of the episode, because I know I didn't hit y'all with the synopsis yet, guys. So here's the synopsis. Me. A visiting instructor forces the cadets to face the emotional realities of serving in Starfleet. Now, you said you had notes for this one. So, with your notes, I will take it away. I'm following your lead. You got notes. I'm interested. Ever since you said you had notes, I wanted to know what these were.
Bruh, this episode, I'm shook. I'm so shook. I got to multitask during this podcast. Just thinking about it. All right, I ain't fronting. All right. This episode did one of the boldest things I have ever seen in a Star Trek show. And Star Trek since The Next Generation, honestly, Star Trek has never shied away from real issues. Mm-hmm. But again, as you and I learned in What We Left Behind, when they want to tackle something, they don't pull any punches, bro.
No.
They pull absolutely no punches. And this episode deals with two major things, or two sides of the side effects of trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I wasn't ready. I was not ready.
Yeah, because we have... everybody's kind of dealing with it, but we kind of cue in on three people that are dealing with it. Two newly, and one kind of never dealt with it, kind of just shoved it down.
Yeah,
which is understandable because, sometimes we have to shove it down. I mean, everyone doesn't get time. I saw there was this young lady talking about how she had gone through a traumatic event at her job. So she quit her job and she was able to basically stay at home with her parents and not go back to work until the next June or next July. And I was like,
must be so nice.
I was like, that's beautiful and that's awesome. And we should have that time if we need that time. But
not in this country.
In most cases, Verizon gonna need that money on the first. All right, they're gonna need that money. They're gonna need that money promptly, and they ain't trying to hear nothing. They might extend you, and what I say is extend But it won't be like 7 or 8 months of you just trying to figure it out. And I know that's not to downplay it, but just they're not going to wait. If I went through something like my job is not going to wait for me, the power company ain't waiting for me. There is just so that is a beautiful thing, but also understanding why a lot of people kind of have to shove it down. Like, okay, I got to get back to work. My wife or my kids or my brother or my mom or whatever, they're depending on this money. Also, I don't have money for therapy. If I did, when would I carve out the time to do it? So
And
we're going
can I
back
take
to
the
shoving
hit
it down.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but the thing is, there's a show that I kind of swear by. I think you should watch it, and I think your son should watch it when he's like 13 or 14.
Okay.
It's called Big Mouth, and it is
Oh, yeah.
it is the it is the junior high health class that we really needed. But they have a spinoff of the show. I think it's called Human Resources.
Okay.
And you meet the grief monster, because in the show, emotions and parts of life are signified by imaginary friends who are monsters. So it's like, imagine South Park meets Monsters Inc., but it's about really being in junior high. So yeah, it is rough.
Yeah, Big Mouth
But they got the grief monster, and he turns himself into a sweater and just jumps on you. So you're wearing it, and he's like, only way out is through, bro. That's it. And this show, again, the A and B story were so well put together, because in the synopsis, our cast is split into the A plot, B plot, because that's TV. That's just what happens. But they did it with, we got our main cast who's suffering from the events on the Miyazaki. And then we've got our character who is suffering from the Miyazaki. And, I'm pushing 50, and I've seen some things. And when I was watching this show, I'm like, oh my God, let me get my tissues. Let me get my coffee. Let me get my warm cotton-filled thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be a plush toy or my blanket. Let's see how this goes.
Let's see how this plays out a bit.
Huh?
Let's see how this plays out a little bit.
And sure enough, it was post-traumatic trauma visited upon people in their mid-20s. And just bruh.
Definitely.
So
the feels, especially when it randomly came to the doctor, like just the feels everywhere. They were like, all right, you think all the feels are going to be in the A plot? Psych.
And yeah, that was the thing. It was like, all right, so we're up to episode 8. Can we borrow Marvin from Pixar for a few? Yeah, because our audience, they'll probably be saying stuff real quick. So we need a few Toy Story moments. Yeah, so, you were one of the assistant writers on Up. This is great. Come on in. We're going to write a show about a community. We need you for this episode. Don't hold back. Yeah. And the whole thing is, there's one thing of keep on keeping on, and that's something that we live with. But there are methods. And this is something that hits our American community hard, which is, we're supposed to keep on keeping on, but you keep on keeping on until you can find the space to heal, not instead of finding the place to heal.
I get you.
And And one of the methods that we use a lot that this episode seriously focused on, except for Millie,
Oh, Tilly.
no, Millie, I'm talking,
Millie.
oh God, I can't remember the whole acronym, Sam, but her last
Oh,
name is Mel.
series acclamation mill.
Yeah, series acclamation Mel, good old Millie,
Mm,
you know,
mm, mm.
um,
The joyful one.
yeah, aggressively joyful.
But that's a
Um,
beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing.
everybody needs one. Everybody needs one. But the writing on her, I found masterful. And I'll tell you why. Because that glitching literally started right after that episode. You know, and it's been 3 or 4 episodes, and this is going, oh, no. We're not resetting to 0. This show is not episodic. There are consequences.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna
there's going to
linger
be some real
around.
ones. And it's like, you know, every time we talk about Star Trek, I tell you about the archetypes, and we covered that Sam is the Pinocchio character, you know, the character that wants to be, or at least wants to understand, human, you know, from Spock to Data to Seven of Nine. The Doctor was the stroke of genius in Voyager because he understood humanity and didn't like it. And it was like, no, I get you. I ain't you. And the parts of me that are like you guys, yeah, they're the parts I actually like the least. So get out of my med bay. And so when we see the volatility of the characters leading to that glorious simulation where it gives us something that we'd seen it 100 times in Star Trek. But this show is giving us you've seen it 100 times, but this is how it comes to be. Okay. And what I'm talking about is a catastrophe happens and the bridge crew is a machine. You know, they're finishing each other's sentences. They're like, Captain, I have an idea. They talk about the idea. Then, you know, the engineer talks about the idea. Then the communications officer is like, that actually works, especially if we do it through this. And then the tactical officer is like, all right, and we can do this maneuver, this maneuver, this maneuver. Then the other engineer is like, yeah, we can actually divert power from the warp core to the tachyon dish, and science gag. And they're all just like, this is a plan. This is how we all contribute to that plan to make sure that it works. And if the captain says no, well, I got a plan. And then they all contribute to that plan until the captain makes the decision. And I have a friend who's been a Trekkie longer than I've been alive. And she asked me about the show, and I said, the show is great if you surrender to the conceit that you are looking at college, not in the field. These folks are learning.
Yeah, they haven't become the team that you're used to seeing yet.
Yeah, this is Batman Begins. This is not Justice League. I mean, that's straight up. That's what we're talking about. And so to see all of them arguing, talking over each other, just not working as a team, and it gave me the captain that I knew I wanted, but I know I'll never get in Reno, going like, congratulations, you're all dead. And that was a pathetic show of team. That was an absolute failure of teamwork. Get off my bridge. I'm like that.
The funny thing is, when I did my watch along, it surprised me because I was like, you know what? I can see them being angry with one another and like kind of falling over each other and stuff. But I would have thought or would have hoped that the Miyazaki would actually have made them tighter. Like, hey, after being in a situation like that, being like, hey, look, we really all we got. Like we've been in a situation where it's just us. We are the crew. Like it ain't nothing but us.
Well, see, that's the thing though. It did bring them closer, but being someone, full disclosure, who suffers from complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Like I said, I've seen some things. This episode paints it perfectly because it does. You know, traumatic experiences, things like that, they can bring you closer. Not quickly. First,
okay. Well, see, remember, it's been at least over a month, because the break between episode 6 and 7 was a month. So it's at least been longer than that. And we assumed they've been talking, even though they did go on holiday. I was hoping that they would have a better relationship, but I guess I was wrong.
No, it's not about time, bro. It's about work.
Okay.
Before we started this podcast this week, you were telling me you made a commitment to be a more present and involved father in a good way. Mm-hmm. You've had your boy for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're still
you get bogged down. You realize, okay, I'm starting to get bogged down at work. I need to unbog from work.
And then you got to put in the work to be that father.
True that.
But you had your kid for 10 years. Why ain't you already that?
Well, no. He's 8 now. So I've only 8.
Yeah. No, you had him for 8 years, See, it's not about the time. It's about the effort put into it. And it's not even about the effort. It's not just about the effort put into it, but the correct effort put in the proper direction.
Okay.
That's when time pops up. And with traumatic events, the 7-stage grief thing, which probably isn't a thing anymore with new research, but the thing that inspired that 7-stage grief thing is real. And when the traumatic incident happens, a lot of people isolate, a lot of people reach out, but the initial injury is there. It's real, it's present, and you're not. They really, really showed that with old Betazoid girl. And this
blanking on it, Tamari.
So
sorry,
just call her
Tarima.
T.
Sorry.
Yeah, Tarima. I'll just call her T, because that's what her brother calls her. And I didn't know where to put Occam. I did not know where to put Occam. But I'm like, who is this overly enthusiastic? Oh God, he's gonna be a red shirt. And I'm like, she went to battle. He went to solve problems obtusely. Okay, all right. So they got this sibling energy going. And he shined in this episode. He really shined in this episode.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh yeah, he's there. What does he? Oh, that's what he does. He's like, quit your BSing. All right. I am tired of pretending I'm okay. I'm not. I'm messed up. We're all messed up, and we're wasting our energy being messed up. And that's the thing. They weren't at each other. The trauma just makes you generally angry. And come on, black man and black man. We see this all over the place, from Unc to granddad, to mom, to auntie, to the old head sitting on the street that don't like our shoes, and it's like, you just mad. And I get it. Your feeling is real and justified, but don't spew it on me. I wasn't there in the 50s,
Yeah, I wasn't there.
And but it's like, it's real, and a real thing. And this is something that people in their 20s actually figure out from both sides, is that we emotionally express things in places that we feel safe to emotionally express them. This is why a lot of women complain that their men get goofy when they're at home. It's like, that's the only place he can laugh. A lot of men complain about how their women are just meaner and crueler at home. And it's like, that's the only place she can be angry. She can't be angry out there.
I'm trying to remember who did a show. Someone did a show on basically talking about the the increased critique on the happy black man. And I can't remember who it might have been. I think it was Thought Crimes, but they were talking about basically saying, if you're a happy black man for any reason,
bruh, the world will hit you so hard. They will be coming down on you like crazy.
If you're happy for any reason, what are you happy for? Mm-hmm. Or
who do you think you are to be
you too happy?
You
too happy.
And it's not just a certain part of the world. The whole world will come down when we're happy. Prince Humperdinck actually said it in Princess Bride. It is obvious that you truly love each other and you would truly be happy, and no couple in 1,000 years should have that. Wow. It's straight up hate.
That's some straight up hateration.
Yeah, that he said that to Wesley while he had him strapped to the torture machine, and he's like, "That is why no man in 100 years will suffer as much as you're about to."
Wow.
And I'm
straight
like,
up hateration.
Yeah, that's like, wow. Therapists all over the world were like, I got an opening on Tuesday. But yeah, and then we get to Sam and the brilliantness of the glitching. She's like, I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to be up. Oh, man. And then I noticed that the glitching happens every time she got disappointed. It's, I did something good to make you happy. It didn't work. And I'm like, oh.
I didn't peep that. See, I just always saw it as every time she was getting excited, it was happening. But it wasn't particularly the excitement. It was that the excitement came and you're like, oh, you're not excited too. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
This is supposed to make someone happy. And it didn't. Does not compute. And it came down from her trauma. And it was funny because the tough part about me watching these shows is me going, yeah, the girl's got trauma. That's why she's glitching out. And she wasn't programmed for trauma. Like, that's what's messing her up. She's becoming more human. And, I'm like, you're the same race as Guinan. You're the doctor. Did you guys not study data? Did you just forget 7 of 9? I mean, really?
Well, see, they probably assumed that she was made with these things or with, because the photonics are super duper techie or whatever. So they're thinking, oh, she came to us, how they regularly make you guys or something. However it is. And then the doctor's like, oh, hold on, you didn't do this? You didn't prime it first?
Yeah. I'm glad you used that phrase, actually. I'm really glad you used that phrase.
You can't just pull the ripcord. You gotta prime the thing. You didn't prime it?
Wait, you didn't let this warm up? You just put it in first gear and went? Oh my god.
Nah, you gotta prime it first. So
yeah.
So okay,
and
understand.
Yeah, so the whole idea of we're watching 5 to 6 different ways that people are processing trauma that they don't want to face. And the subtlety in the writing was, who was the most cool throughout this whole episode? And I mean cool-headed, clear seeing.
Maybe like Genesis or Jaden, maybe?
Caleb.
Oh yeah. Caleb was good. Well, see.
But see, for Caleb, the Miyazaki was Thursday. He was like,
he's like, I've been here, yo. And look,
I've been watching people get blown up and die for a while. I went through some weird stuff when I found out that my girlfriend could go Super Saiyan, but I'm good.
But it sounds like maybe that might only be able to be done once, maybe one more time. We have no idea, but it doesn't seem like they're advising. We're not advising that she tries it again because whatever she did, it took her out for at least a month. So
Yeah, that was the first time. Just wait until they pop her in the hyperbolic time chamber. She gets some training with Master Roshi.
Gets a couple senzu beans, no problem.
Bruh.
Even though you know what? Sidebar. Starfleet, how do you not have senzu bean like items?
Oh, they do.
For people in the field.
They do.
Because there's no med bay in the field, so it's like, oh man, I got shot 2 times. Hold up. Now I'm back.
They do.
Really?
And on 2 ships. One, the Discovery, and 2, the Enterprise.
Okay.
Remember Kelvin Universe, Wrath of Khan, or whatever that one was called. I think it was Star Trek Into Darkness because it
was Into Darkness, yeah.
Yeah, they cured death. And then they locked it away because no admiral in Starfleet can be trusted. We've watched all the shows.
Yeah. The only show I haven't watched all the way through. Well, no, I haven't watched Enterprise.
I don't think anyone has.
That's cold, man. Is Enterprise that bad? Y'all let me know. Also, since it was on television at the time and I was watching it because my mom watched it, I probably haven't seen all of Next Generation. I've seen a collection of episodes. You know how TV was.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was watching episode 2 or episode 22. I have no idea. It just came on. It is,
If you start watching TNG, you just need to give it grace. Because you started at the transition between treks.
Yeah, like I started watching Star Trek like on my own when the new J.J. Abrams films came in, and then on to Discovery and all that. So because before that, I just watched it if mom was watching it. You know what I'm saying? And then Deep Space Nine, I watched that.
Yeah, like once again, you started.
Once again, when I watched Deep Space Nine, it was on Sci-Fi Channel, so I probably had only watched like 5 episodes.
Yeah, so you got a lot of.
They rerun a whole bunch of stuff because when I started watching it when it came on Netflix, I was like, "Oh, I didn't know he had hair." Like, what is all this? Then he had those tight shorts on, and like we let it slide because he's our brother. But
I didn't realize it was Hawk.
Oh,
shouts out if you know what I'm talking about.
So that's so Deep Space Nine. Yeah, I started watching that, but when the way broadcast was, you didn't really know what you were watching outside of I'm watching Star Trek.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was episode 10, episode 18, episode 2. I don't know. Star Trek's just on.
Yeah, and DS9 was the first show to commit to being serial. It started with TNG, but yeah, DS9 said, no, we're going to go serial. So you can't miss a few episodes. You can't miss more than 3,
Yeah.
But yeah, so with this one though, Mir growing up the way that he did, he was like, I like that he wasn't the wise one that guided everyone through because they're in their 20s. He was just the one that was the least bothered.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, my girl's here. Hey girl, hey, what's wrong with you? All right. I'm gonna just be over here. And this was a good character study on T. Doing the whole everybody's looking at me weird. Everybody thinks I'm strange and odd. It's like, no, girl, that's just you.
That's like we're not. No one's looking at you. Like you think. I was texting someone yesterday, inviting them somewhere, and that person is still saying, whenever I come to a place, people look at me weird. And I went to some people at the place, and I was like, this is what this person told me. And a few of them were like, yeah, that's in his head. They're like, but once it's in there, you can't get it out your head unless you go to the place and experience the place. And you're like, oh, It isn't. But if you don't go there to experience the, you'll never know.
Well,
So
see, that's the thing, though. That's part of trauma. Okay. I've gone through 24 friend groups, and one of the biggest friend groups I had gave me some major trauma. So now, whenever I'm in a group, based on the fact that I was the unusual kid in the hood, and I call it cowardice, because I like thugs, because a thug will be like, you know what? I don't like you. Well, why don't you like me? I don't know. I just don't like you. You need to miss me with, that everything, and I'm like, cool. I know where I stand.
Yeah, at least I know where I stand with you.
Where regular people, when you confront them with direct questions, they will always answer to the positive. So I'm like, do these people actually like me? And a lot of the times it'll be like, it'll be like, well, no, of course we like you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you? Like with my male sapien brothers and sisters, I'm like, do you actually like me, or am I something that you put in a video game instead of a quarter? Or do you actually not like me, but you're afraid to say so because then people will say you don't like black people in general? Or do you not like me and you have very, very jerkish thoughts, and you don't want to lose the social capital in being honest about the things that you are acting upon quietly? There's all that stuff, and trauma brings all that to the top, and that comes down to pain from the past, being afraid that it would repeat.
Like, here's
us to the doctor.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, the doctor is a great example of that. And we see how he's pushed it down. He's experienced this, because this is 800 years ago. But he also said it was yesterday, because, of course, since he's a hologram, we don't really know how he experiences time. So
it's all right now, because the biggest ways that humans measure time is by decay. Okay. This is why he is so close with Captain Nala. Those two are immortal.
Both of them, they're essentially immortal.
Yeah. And so he's like, 100 years, 20 years, just like when we talked about the Lord of the Rings spinoff show.
Rings of Power.
Yeah, when we talked about Rings of Power, and we were loving how Doran was like, oh yeah, it was 20 years. And Elrond's like, yeah, man, it was 20 years, man. It's it was like last week. So yeah, what's going on? He's like, do you know I got kids?
Like, I got kids now, man. It's a long time ago.
20 years. But over the course of a life that doesn't end, you're over 40. I'm well over 40. And so when we talk about stuff that we remember just like yesterday, and somebody is like, bro, that was 15 years ago. Yeah. And we're like, what?
That's when, like, when you hear a song and you're like, oh man, that was so great when that came out. And you're like, hold on. I was like in 5th grade when it came out.
Bro, I will tell you this. Out here in
that's why when I do my show, I'll be like, I know y'all watching me. You watching me right now, like, you old dog. You don't know nothing, dog. Look, you don't get old for nothing. All right. Now, there is a such thing as an old fool, but there's not many of them.
I used to think that, but then I started watching the news. But anyway, but yeah, so so for the doctor, we know, like you and I know, that we're gonna get old. We're gonna shuffle off this mortal coil just like our grandparents. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling it day to day. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh Oh, my knees, and my back. I used to be I used to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go out party. Now I just get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go pee. I mean so I know that I have more days behind me than I do ahead of me. Okay. And I'm just middle-aged. But if I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I will always have more days ahead of me, I'd be like Rick James. Like, man, you slapped me 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, why are you bringing up last week?
You just did.
It was like, wait a second. Weren't you just pregnant? My kid graduated college. Oh,
my bad.
I'm sorry. I just went out for smokes.
I was thinking like, hey man, look, you need a daughter. She need a dad. This is a slam dunk, man. Open your heart. Open your heart up, man. This whole episode, joy, true, real joy from the inside that cannot be taken.
Gone.
It's powerful, man.
Powerful. It was gone. Most of it.
It's powerful.
And
see,
I
he
gotta give it up,
reconnected, man, and then they growed up, man. Come on, y'all, man. Look, it's and I heard she was like, "I love you, Dad," and I look, I'm gonna say it again. That I love you, Dad. That genuine I love you, Dad. I don't care how hard and thuggish they say they are. It melt that heart on the inside. They might not say nothing, but that real I love you, Dad is real. It feels good.
I was crying them manly tears, bro. Crying them manly tears.
I don't care if they're on death row because they murdered 55 people with their bare hands. That honest, genuine, I love you, Dad. That running start, jump into your arms. It's gonna melt them. It's gonna melt them. Don't, man.
No, it's what makes the hard harder. Because it's like, I love you, Daddy. If anything were to happen to you, I would commit genocide to keep you safe. You know that, right?
Man, look.
that's okay. That real thing.
Sidebar, before we get to final thoughts, sidebar. I watched Fatal Attraction for the first time with my wife like 2 nights ago.
Why would you do that?
Because Lisa was like, you haven't seen this? And I was like, no, I've never seen it. So when she kidnaps that kid, I'm going to keep it real with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it honestly, openly. Y'all know, if y'all watch it, I love the Lord. I do my best. I do my absolute best to live by what's in the Bible. But she kidnapped that kid. Whoo.
Well, you know what else is in the Bible?
I would like to believe that I could like pray and like really, because people in the Bible have gone through those things, but I just hope the cops get to her first. That's all I can say. Just hope.
Yeah.
Hope
well, you know what else?
Get her
Bible,
first.
Right? Yeah. Because it's like you try and live by the Bible. I don't. Well, I live by certain parts.
I try.
And in certain parts, it's like, I recall certain, like, oh, they kidnapped a kid. Yeah, I recall certain Bible verses. You ever read Ezekiel 25:17?
What is 25? See, now I have to look that up. What is 25?
And I will rain down upon them with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord. Yeah. That it's like, wait a second. I try and live by the Bible, which the old part. Oh,
also remember and know that I am the Lord. I'm not the Lord. Vengeance is His.
I'm just saying.
Pretty much, God is saying, "Look, I'll get your revenge." Now, I might pray that it comes a little faster because I'm selfish and I want to see it. But
I'm just saying. Ever see me marching around somebody's house all night? Somebody messed with a kid. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Let those walls fall down. But anyway, y'all know.
Yeah.
But
so.
Like,
and I'm not Christian, you know that, but
dear Lord, please get the revenge in a way that I can see it. No, that is not the prayer.
No,
But
my
I could
prayer is,
when
dear
she
Lord, you
kidnapped that
better
kid,
hurry
when she
up.
kidnapped that
Losing
kid,
me.
I was like, see,
Mhm.
because okay, you and I have a beef, fine. You don't maybe well also I know this is old school. Kids, mamas, wives, they not in this. But the new school says pretty much anyone's fair game. I don't play that. Look, you don't look. My wife ain't part of this. This is me and you. You got something. Well, now we really got an issue. But I know the old school is over.
New school
That
people
whole
took the wrong lesson from Machiavelli's The Prince. No,
like
seriously.
I mean, also old school. We don't mess with mamas. We don't deal around churches. We don't deal on playgrounds. All that stuff is over. Like that.
Yeah,
Sadly, all that stuff is over. And not
they
saying that
weren't
it
in
was
truce.
good then, but it was. I don't know if the word is honorable. They had a code. They did it. They
The
did
code
it
was
with
there for the
respect.
reason.
I don't know if maybe that's not the
No,
term.
no, the code was there for the reason that they were in the game. Okay, they were in the game to support their families. It was, I'm doing all this banging and all this
Mhm.
dealing and stuff because mama's working 2 jobs and our electricity still got cut off.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's like we don't mess with old people because if you take out my grandmama, like she's the whole reason I'm in this game. And if you take
Yeah.
her out, and she's also the only thing keeping me good, you know,
True.
it's like
No,
it's like half the villains in Gotham knows Batman's true identity, but if they did anything to Bruce Wayne or the Wayne family, then the good side of Batman goes away.
yeah, you can't say I know who Batman is, so I'll get him. I'm gonna go kill Alfred. It's like Alfred is essentially his moral center. Like if he's gone,
Actually, a better example has
some
been
problems.
you take out Aunt May and you see what Mr. Parker is.
Yeah, because I mean,
Okay.
honestly, Peter has to hold back a lot. The only people that could probably take full Peter strength is maybe like Kingpin, just because he's ridiculously strong.
No, Kingpin cannot. That's canon
Well,
in Spider-Man Back in Black.
But in some of
Kingpin
the in some of
cannot.
the universes, Kingpin kind of puts the screws to Spider-Man a little bit.
Only
Oh,
because
oh,
Spidey lets him.
because I forgot because Aunt May and all those people are still alive. I forgot. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so if Kingpin was like, "Ha ha, I know who you are. I killed Mary Jane. I killed Aunt May, and in your face."
And Mr.
Yeah,
Parker showed up to that prison block, slapped him like Wyatt Earp slapping Johnny Tyler, picked him up by his fat folds in his chest, and straight up told him, if she dies, I'm coming back to kill you. I
yeah,
will
that.
fill your lungs with fluid in front of everybody, and
Yeah,
nobody's gonna remember when Aunt May got shot. His first impulse was to throw a car in the direction of the bullet. Forget bystanders, forget cops. Bullet came from there, cars going that way. I will see who did it in a minute. So
Wow. Yeah,
and that was why there was the truce on Sundays, and you were taking care of these people.
yeah. Like
But then
you
the
didn't.
times changed, and the
Yeah,
times changed because, well, it's all about me. Look at, they were doing it for themselves. They weren't doing it for their families.
you.
It became more self-centered.
If you
You know,
guys don't understand what we're talking about, because I don't know how old you are. You might be watching this.
just watch The Wire
Watch,
or
watch,
Snowfall.
watch American Gangster, Paid in Full, and The Wire. That
Mhm.
should give you a good idea of kind of how the game has sort of
Changed.
changed over years.
Oh man, yeah.
But
My
yeah, you're
man.
right. No banging on Sundays. We don't bang on Sundays because
Mhm.
you just don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't.
You don't want to hit
Um,
auntie coming out of church.
Yeah, you don't
That's not
you
what
don't
you do.
drink you don't drink in front of the pastor, you don't curse in front of the pastor. Even like there would be times when you could be I remember you could be in a barber shop And if the pastor came in the barbershop to get his cut, the whole energy changed because there was a certain respect of like, okay, all right, we know this man doesn't live this life, so we gonna curtail the talk about women. We gonna curtail the talk, the cross talk about f this and f that. We gonna
But
chill.
we will
We
talk
gonna
about
talk about
books.
We gonna talk about basketball for like the
Mm-hmm.
next hour or so, and then when he leaves, then but all that respect, I guess, is gone. That's over.
Now, the respect was for his presence and his position. So once the presence is gone, then we good, but we stepped back from being a community to being individuals, which brings us back to this episode. They were all going through trauma individually. Okay. And one of my favorite book series is called Callahan's Cross Time Saloon from Spider Robinson. And it's about a bar where people get together to feel better because all of their lives from across space and time suck. They do. There's like one woman comes into the bar, and the rule is you can come into the bar and you pay your money. Every drink is 50 cents. And you make a toast. And when you make a toast, everybody in the bar has to shut up, stop what they're doing, and toast with you. And if you want to talk about it, everybody stops what they're doing and they listen. But if you don't want to talk about it, everybody goes back to doing what they are. And if you want to pry, then Callahan the bouncer picks you up by the scruff of the neck and throws you out the front door. Sometimes he remembers to open it.
Oh,
and the whole premise is pain shared is lessened, joy shared is amplified.
that's what's up, man.
That's the central conceit that's the central motif. The conceit is a bar that exists outside of space and time, but the motif is that. And this is a community, and if you find your way to the bar, it's because you're hurting and you're hurting bad. And there was a lady that walked into the bar and did a toast to motherhood. And it was for no reason that she understands. She's immortal and her offspring are not. And after living through 6 generations of giving birth and watching 6 generations of her family, of her offspring, live, grow old, and die, she just couldn't anymore. However,
Wow.
one of the patrons at the saloon is an android. So we had a meet cute. It's that kind of thing.
Nice.
So yeah, it's an amazing book series. Amazing. If you going through a thing,
What's up?
if you're going through a thing, this is a great series of science fiction books. And in this episode, you've got Captain Nala and the doctor grieving their lost children. And the doctor's been grieving for 900 years.
Yeah.
And shouts out to the writers, and Robert Picardo does no wrong. I've loved him since Inner Space. Shouts out to him for admitting flat out, look, I'm a coward. Because it's like the only way I can get through my existence, my infinite existence, is to not love. And Nala was like, you mean not love again? He's like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't want to do that. No kids, no wife, no friends. I can't take watching them go. And, she's like, that girl right there is dying. And you're the only one that can do it. She needs a daddy.
See, now I have to go back and read his response, his facial response, when I think Sam brings up the Prodigy crew. Now I got to go and read his response on his face again. And I think he kind of grunted a little bit, but in the show Prodigy, he was like, these kids.
Yeah.
But and see, I'm kind of on the other side. I love being around, regardless of whether 5 or 15, just that they're excited because the world hasn't beat them down yet. And then the thing is, like, you can see that excitement. You don't want it to beat them down. And you, somewhere inside, you're like, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be better. Hopefully.
Well, they said so in the Max, actually, back in the 90s, where it's like, I know things are like this now, but it'll change. And the teenage girl, Sarah, was like, when? And they're like, I don't know.
Man, I don't
but
know.
It will. You know? Again, if y'all are following this and y'all are getting all my media references, just know this. Practically everything I watch is along the lines of this episode. It's like, yeah, we're going to go through a real dark place and come out the other side. Different? Hopefully not worse, because I'm a Don Bluth kid. I'm not a Disney kid. All right. You know, Land Before Time was my anchor.
Man, Land Before Time is the bomb, man.
You know, yeah. Actually, Secret of NIMH was my anchor, but you know, I say Land Before Time.
That's another one that I want to show my son, but I don't know if he's super. I think he's ready.
In truth, you should show your son that with Lady Lisa, because that whole thing is about how powerful a mother's love is.
Like, you know, that, we got like all those ones that came in, like I guess the early 90s, mid 90s, maybe,
like American Tail, Land Before
Five Goes West. You know, like, you know, all those were cool movies. Yeah,
but they hurt. Yeah. Again, Don Bluth goes darkness, 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 recovery. See, look, we found a new Earth. I think I'll call it Bob. You know, versus fade in. Earth gets destroyed. Humans are thrown out to the middle of the galaxy. Nobody likes them. Cockroaches are calling them dirty. Opening credits. You know, I mean, that's where I come from. I mean, that's just where I come from.
Oh boy, I know we've been rolling, guys. We were rolling.
Before we gotta talk about what the people really are tuning in for.
What? What you talking about?
She came back, and
when I heard her voice, I was like, oh.
Yes, everybody was like, oh, and it's like, this is theater class therapy.
And then seeing her and Jet together again.
Yeah.
Because she said we are women out of time. Yeah, pretty much. That whole ship has a very unique experience.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we were kicking it in 2026.
Yeah.
And then we had to stop this sort of time bomb kind of thing. Then we went through this portal, and guess what? Now it's 4026. And we're like, well.
And I know I didn't run into any of my descendants because I haven't had any.
Yeah.
Great.
Because Tilly, even on an episode of Discovery, she was saying that like all of her family had died like years and years ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's imagining that. So yeah, that whole crew of the Discovery is just, things are weird for them.
Yes, very. And again, I gotta love it. I can't not love it. But yeah, the whole, all right, now we're gonna be studying our this play. Now, if it ain't obvious, I was a theater kid, and I'm like, they're pulling out Our Town. All right, I'm gonna lean in. You know,
because I was like theater. I was like, oh, all right, let's check it out. I'm like, because I was never a theater kid. I knew theater kids, but I was never in theater. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's see how this plays out. And I was like, good choice.
Yeah,
good choice, Sam. Good choice, Tilly.
As soon as they pulled that up, and Tilly was like, that one's perfect. That's the one we're doing. I'm like, that's not much of a theater team. Oh, she's there as a counselor. Good job,
good
Commissioner.
Good show.
You know, and again, when Tamira was like, you know, all this other stuff, I don't want to be the ghost girl, you know, and it was like, all right. So now I got to get in your face. Yeah, no, really. Well, they should just leave me to do my own thing. And what is that?
Yeah.
You know,
Like
and
I
I've
went on
had
a
that
whole
conversation with,
baby rant in my watch along for it. I was like, what does that mean?
yeah,
And also, for how long? And would that ever
exactly.
work? Would that ever work for you in the reverse?
Has that ever worked? And doing your own thing is one thing, but and this is what some would call the folly of youth. It's let me do my own let me try and fix this new problem in the ways that I fixed my old problems with the tools that I had for my old problems. And it's like, so you're trying to build an entire car with a screwdriver and a set of pliers. You need a ratchet. You need some air tools.
That's part
You
of
might have to learn how to weld, and
one
that's
of the
why you're
biggest
here.
things is the tool.
Yeah.
Some I was talking about this a couple of days ago. Somebody was like, you should cook all your food at home, eat at home all the time. It's too expensive. You need to cook at home and just eat at home. And I'm like, you know what? Actually, I do agree. The more, look, man, you can doom scroll on anything. And when it comes to restaurants, bro, like you be like, look, I'm eating at home. But that said, do you have the tools?
Hmm?
And I know this sounds silly, but unless you're someone who really cooks at home, I want you to go and count how many spatulas you have, how many mixing cups, measuring cups you have, how many do you have do you have a stand mixer, do you have a
Thank you.
hand mixer, do you have all these things? Then you're like, oh, I don't have these things. Well, I'll get one. How much does it cost? $400. You're like,
Well, bro, look at what we do.
so
A lot of people think podcasting is just sitting down in front of your phone. And when I do
it
my show
can be
and you do
that.
your show, people that are in the room are going, all right, is that dude an octopus? It's like, no, I'm engaged. I'm engaged with the camera. I got to make sure that I'm not dropping the frame rate. Now I'm cutting from one thing to another because, I do my shows live and I have cutaways
Yeah.
all the time.
Mhm.
So, and it's like, I can do that, but over the course of 3 years, I spent like $4,000 on gear because I needed a switcher. I needed a computer with a video card strong enough to run an A-tier video game at full strength. I needed a good camera. Then I found out that I needed lenses, and then the lighting. Oh my God, the lighting. And if I hadn't gone to film school, I wouldn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah,
So I
like,
needed the
okay,
education.
like
I
right
needed
now,
the tools,
like with lights, like you're talking about right now, I have a huge window in front of me.
Mhm.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lights.
Yeah. And
They
I got
all
a
cost
10-foot
money.
window with sunlight. That's why I'm so blue and shadowed. I got no key lighting. I got no direct lighting. I don't have those
I
tools
have
with
my
me right now.
HSLs. Like if you can see, I have a HSL right here. It changes color, and then HSL right here. See, it changes color. Then I have whites. Then I have warms. Then I have another warmish white. Then I have the window. So like, there's tons of stuff. Everybody ain't got that. That stuff has to be gained over time. I mean, well, if you got the dough, you know what I'm saying.
Well,
Go and get it. But
you
most
might
of
have
us
to go
have
to
to
get
get
the
it
tools,
as
but you also need the knowledge on how to use them.
true.
And see, this is one of the things that I love about being specifically a private teacher, but watching coming of age stories at that level. I first saw it with Blackish.
Okay.
Or I first put words to it with Blackish, where it's like, yeah, you mastered high school. Folks in their 20s, you mastered being a teenager. You know how to be a kid. You know how to be an adult, or you know how to be a teenager. You know how to be a child. You're an adult now, and this is a whole different thing. But we don't really teach folks that, so we think I mastered my past, which means I'm a master of my present, and the future will be no different from today. and that's where they're going at it from. Like, I don't get what this has to do with this. What's the point of this? What's the point? If I don't understand, then it is pointless in total.
Yeah.
Is the perspective of the young and the developmentally stunted. And that's where Tilly was like, dude, being a captain is theater. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Because
And then
every single
also
story.
remember, everything, the whole lesson isn't in the destination.
No.
Sometimes it's the journey, whether it's the work ethic that you learn, the habits that you learn, whatever it is. Sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination.
In truth, most of the time, it's more so because it's a funny thing. A person who gets lost and is inquisitive, excuse me, after about 5 or 10 years, never gets lost anywhere. You know, to put it on what a lot of our viewers are all about, a person who grew up getting beat up knows how to get beat up. You know, it's an art. And it's like the people who grew up getting beat up are not afraid to fight anybody because they're not afraid to lose. You know? Yeah.
Because you go into the engagement like, okay, you can kind of see like, okay, self, you gonna get hit. Mm-hmm. Now, we gonna get hit. That's gonna happen. But can you hit them? Enough of them. And if there's more than one, can you hit enough of them? Or can you bite one? Can you step on one? Can you do? Because I remember them days. I'm glad I can solve all my issues, either with talking or just leave.
Well, but it's the theater of life, though. It's Captain America. When Captain America says, "I can do this all day,"
a Captain America reference. This one, talking about.
That straight up means I can get up one more time than you can. I don't care how many times you can get up. I'm getting up one more time. You know, because I've been beaten to the dirt. And in the words of Whoopi Goldberg in her first theatrical thing, I'm here. I'm still here. You know, and that's the important part of the journey is every story, every adventure has trials, tribulations, has difficult parts, has a huge chance of failure. In fact, the best stories have a much higher chance of failure than success. You know, as Shakespeare wrote, if we're marked to die, we are ere now to do our country loss, but to win. The fewer men, the greater share of honor. You know, it's like we're outdone. So Tilly putting everything in a theatrical context, saying, we're going to examine this story. And in examining this story and really asking those questions, why, like, you know, okay, they're about to get married and she hates him right now in a way that she didn't before. What changed? You know, because when you ask people to interpret meanings about characters and literacy, you get a big reflection of who they are, especially when they're young, because their only point of reference is themselves. You know, this comes along with post-adolescence. You know, when you get over 25 and the hormones are officially gone and the brain starts to stiffen, then you have more. This is biochemical, dude. Your capacity for empathy grows. You know, but when you're still soft in the brain and you think the whole world is because of you, be it your parents are divorcing and you're 6, oh my God, it's because I wasn't good enough. When you're 17 and your parents are trying to teach you about how cold the world is and you go, but I'm not that cold. You know, it's like, we're not talking about you, you know? So when you ask them how they interpret the characters, they're still going to talk about themselves.
I mean, in all honesty, I still do that. When I see some story and they're like, this person scammed this person because they lied about this. I'm like, why would you lie? No one would lie about this. Oh, yes, they would.
Like, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they would. They would lie about this. One of my favorite stories is this lady that put another woman's kids in a GoFundMe, like they was her kids. Like she had some chick had in Vegas. Some chick had say 5 or 6 kids. So the woman essentially just babysits her kids, but puts up a GoFundMe like, my kids and I are struggling. We're struggling. And I'm like, no, why would you? No one would do that. And it's like, no, someone would do that. So I don't know why.
I mean, can think of 5 people I know that would do that.
I get it. Money is like they say, money is a factor. But and Paz, one of my favorite rappers, says, "Money ain't everything, but everything makes me want it." So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I get it.
You know,
But
so yeah.
man, do you have like you don't have to do everything for money. Look,
Again,
you don't have to do everything for money. All right. If you take anything from this podcast, please do not do everything for money.
and see, that's the lawful good guy talking. Now the neutral good person is saying you can do anything for money, but can you live with yourself?
Yeah.
And if your kids saw you doing anything for money, would you be mad at them for doing the same thing? Now, if the answer is no, you do you, boo.
Yeah, because we don't do things in a bubble. So
no,
and you don't get to decide if this never comes back either.
Hey, you're straight up saying no, nobody will put up somebody else's kid. Look, I have thought about it. I just don't want to deal with the blowback. You know, I have thought pictures of old people saying, "My grandma needs help. This is a GoFundMe to help pay for her chemo," because I'm broke and I'm alone. So, but see, I
guess a victim of this crime.
Now, I choose at every day to be a man with integrity, and integrity is the opposite of that. Yeah. You know, and the thing that makes that choice difficult is the opposite of that is much easier, and in the world that we live in right now, much more effective. So, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do break the rules. Shout out to the fat kid. You know who I am. But you know, so there are some times to break the rules, but you know, again, it's one of them things. But you know, so when we saw the students looking to get into fights and all that other stuff, trauma does one major thing to a person, especially their first time through. It makes them angry at what they were and fills them with an insatiable need for control, specifically control to prevent it from happening again, because trauma happens in places that you don't imagine that it's going to happen. Like, if you know you go into that part of the neighborhood and you get mugged, you knew what was coming and you're like, man, I'm mad. Or when you go to the casino and you lose all your money, you knew it was a chance. It happened, and it's like, well, that's why I wasn't gambling with my rent, you know?
Yeah.
But when you get in a car accident, you know, that's your regular routine where nothing is supposed to happen. And then, boom, something new, something dangerous that could have ended everything. And I wasn't doing anything to cause that. So now the whole nervous system gets rewired to be like, well, the most mundane thing that we do can also kill us. So now I got to make sure everything is good. That good. I'm gonna baby proof the house. I'm gonna go back to the gym. I'm gonna, you know, yeah, my back hurts a little more after that car accident. So I got to start working out more. I'm not letting this thing happen again. That's what trauma does. And some people see it in fighting. We saw it in T in this episode where she went straight to the bottle, just straight to the bottle, you know. And again, shouts out to Caleb, where he was like, "Hey, what's up? Oh no, you drunk? No, real talk, girl. You know, what? You can't be with? No. I ain't saying I can't be with all that. Look, hurting me is not gonna make you feel better.
Yeah,
you know, like, this ain't me." And
like when she finished yelling at him, I was like, "You played yourself, girl." And then what she do? Cry. Told you.
Oh, I gotta give shouts out to him, because too many people are stuck on that pride and trauma from their youth. You know, this is one of the reasons that so many YNs out there, no, I ain't tolerating disrespect, because it starts with disrespect, it ends in violence, and I'm gonna just stop that stuff now, right? And he was like, yeah, hurting me ain't gonna make you feel better. I feel pretty good right now. You won't later. Like, remember, no, I grew up in them streets. You know?
Oh boy! All right, now we really are at time.
Yeah, so you know.
Look, guys.
I tell you, I had notes. This Wow, yeah.
We gave y'all a good one. Star Trek gave you a good one. All right. So look, hey, just know that we got 2 episodes left. They're gonna be dangerous. I could feel it because we had 2 episodes where it was kind of like cool. We just dealt with feelings and stuff. So the next 2 might be dangerous. I'm just letting you know, I'm just preparing you. It could be dangerous.
Doth I hear a Paul Giamatti in makeup?
Anyway, so I guess final thoughts. Where can they find you?
Final thoughts. This episode was amazing. Not my favorite episode of the season, but the best episode of the season thus far. The writing was super effective at everything that it was attempting to do. Showing what trauma does, showing the different effects, showing that the only ways out are through, and through is ugly and painful. Sometimes it takes 17 years to get a childhood you never had. You know, sometimes it takes being the parent that you know you can be, regardless of how it makes you feel, because somebody else needs you. And sometimes it's about realizing that, yes, stuff is dark, stuff is bleak, and we go on anyway, you know, because what else is there to do? You know, this episode was so full. It was a major flashback to the Star Trek of 60 years ago, where every episode was a morality play. It wasn't just a highfalutin adventure in space where people go pew pew and starships fly around each other. It was, why are we fighting? Like, why do we care? And you know, in this one, like I said, it was super wise. Like, I really like how it showed Captain Nala as the wisest of Starfleet captains that we've seen, because she knows when to call in for help.
Yeah.
And she knows when to leave that help alone, because she knows she called the right person. You know, she wasn't standing over Tilly doing it. It's like, girl, do your thing. Yeah. I'll be over here. Doctor, this is what you need to do. And I can't, that girl needs a father, not a mother. So I know you're trying to be Mr. Outside of Time and Space and be the stage director and all that stuff, but I got that. You need to get in the game.
You got to get in there.
So I'm the coach. All right. I'm the coach. You're actually on the bench, but that means you're not the coach. So yeah, guess what? You're going in. Yeah, you're going in, and I'm going to leave you to do what you need to do. All right, cool. You know, and then at the end, you know, you can the woman out of time scene was great. With the, you know, yeah, we're old, we're out of time, we're tired. What are we drinking? Something strong. I'm grabbing the whiskey, you know. Not the suburban moms sitting up with a glass of wine. They're like, no, I need to get turned. This is a week. So yeah, this episode was amazing. It was again the best episode. I didn't see any wasted scenes, but I only watched it twice. And the performances were all like, I broke when they were like, all right, Sam, we got to go into your head and see what's wrong with you. And she's like, doctor, hold my hand. And he's like, nope. And then she turns around, and it's not that she's crying. She cried out the eye he couldn't see. I'm like, she doesn't want to show him how messed up that's doing to her, because her character doesn't want to hurt anybody. Wow. So she's like,
I did not catch it. I thought she was just trying to cry silently.
I told you, I had
she didn't want to break because she didn't want to break the mood.
No,
but again, that adds another layer on it.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh man. Again, this episode, I swear, they got in some Pixar writers, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna kick some people in the emotions in this episode, and they're gonna love us for it. They really are. So yeah, did you write the scene with the old man looking through the photo album and finding the note from his dead wife? Yeah, I need you to write a daughter-father interaction. Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Yeah, all right, cool.
I got it.
Thanks for coming off a strike, by the way. I mean, like for real. So yeah, this episode was so well done. Again, not my favorite because I don't like crying. But the fact that it got me there was really big. And if you guys want to talk about like the deeper meanings of stories and games and what we learn from it and all that stuff, you guys can find me on my YouTube channel. And pretty soon, when I get my new work schedule, my Twitch channel, that's Solar Gray on YouTube or BidP Blurred. And you can find me at twitch.tv/BID_P. And yeah, so real talk, guys, this is a big one. Everybody hurts. Everybody has trauma. I'm not saying that to disregard yours. I'm saying that to let you know that you're not in it by yourself. And since so many people have gone through it, there are so many techniques and so many ways that you can learn from people to get through it, from professionals to your elders, and I'm talking, even your ancestors, if they're still kicking, because people who live go through stuff and they last. So you ain't got to handle it by yourself. That doesn't make you weak or weird, or the ghost girl or the angry prince that was talking about getting married. And don't think I didn't see that, you writers. Don't think I didn't watch last episode. Everything that you're going through, somebody else in your life has gone through it. And it might be hard to talk to them sometimes, especially for our people, where it's like, boy, you don't even you too young to be tired, and it's like, no, for real, I need you to engage with me on this because I'm hurting. I'm hurting and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. So yeah, that's the real part. And and there are free hotlines out there that you can give a call to. You can Google them, but you ain't got to go through it by yourself. And the fact that you're in it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than. It actually makes you human.
Thank you.
My great granny used to say there ain't no such thing as growth without pain. And,
True that.
And it's up to you to decide whether you're going to make that pain a growing pain or a stagnant suffering, but that's on you. That's on you. So yeah. So I'm gonna throw it back. Like when I got notes, I'm just letting you.
All right. Well, I'll just say final thoughts. I agree. Don't forget that you are not the only person that has gone through anything or gone through exactly what you've gone through. And also, there's more people willing to help or just lend an ear than you think. There's way more people willing to help than you think. With that said, they might not be in your home. That can be unfortunate. But the people that are willing to listen, they exist. They out there. Whether it's mom, dad, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, grandma.
Sometimes that professor.
Best friend, professor, coach, whatever. They will take time, and you will see people make time for you. Or it might be a group of friends that they don't know how to fix it, but they're willing to hang around and let you hang out and chill and cry and just sit with you. Because sometimes you just need someone to sit with you. So just remember, you ain't got to go through it alone. So, of course, until next week, where we go out in space. Well, no, actually, we're on Earth. We ain't going to, we don't know what we're doing next week. But in most cases, we're on Earth. NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. Until the next time that you get in them comments and say, hey, I love Starfleet Academy because such and such. Or you're a shill. Because we're just saying peace.
And I wish I was a shill.
We love all y'all.
That'd be an awesome job. All right.
We out.